everybody, how are you? It is a lovely, kind of rainy-ish kind of day in Melbourne, and I am thinking of reaching out to one of my favorite Camino buddies. So I think you know who it is. It is, of course, the incredible Margaret. So she's currently house sitting in Galicia. Yes, I know, I'm so jealous of her. I mean, fancy living in the UK so that you can just pop onto a plane and then be on the Camino trail within like hours. I posed several questions to her as part of my post-Camino reflections, and she's come back with a few answers. So I thought while I make coffee, I will share with you that wonderful interview I did with her. Before we start, this is my fig jam homemade that I made. If you didn't see that, go into my Instagram, you can see the recipe. This is artisanal toast, so it comes out a little bit burnt. Actually, no, this is my banana cake that I made too, so this is homemade. Hey Margaret, I know it is probably a blustery kind of day over in Santiago at the moment. I just want to ask you one quick question, actually several quick questions, and I would love to get your answers. The first one is, what do you miss most about the Camino? I'm sorry, I'm in my pajamas, but you know, we are night and day, aren't we, whilst you are on the other side of the world. What do you miss about the Camino?
Good morning. I'm talking to you from Santiago de Compostela, from Parque da Alameda, and there we have in the background the cathedral looking amazing in the sunshine. Meilin asked me back in October to have a little chat about my Camino experience, and the first question she asked me is, what do I miss most about the Camino? And it is the people. I did 7 days 3 years ago now, and it was the people I missed then, and from the second Camino it's the people, because those places, those towns, those cities are always going to be there. It's the people. And then yesterday when I arrived into Santiago and I walked into the main plaza in front of the cathedral, I was moved to tears because I didn't have any of my family, didn't have any of my friends there, and I'm feeling quite emotional now saying that. And even if you'd have walked on your own, most of the time you did connect with people along the way. So even though if your family were busy, there's always somebody to see. So yes, very, very definitely it's the people that I miss most.
Second question. What 2 to 3 things are you doing, Margaret, to keep the Camino spirit alive? I'm really keen to know.
Good evening. Welcome to Santiago. Here I am sitting in front of the cathedral. It's 6:30 p.m. I've come out for an evening stroll and I'm going to attend the Mass at 7:30. But whilst I'm here, what I thought I would do is address the second question that Meilin posed to me. And that question was, what 2 or 3 things would you do to keep or are you doing to keep the Camino spirit alive? Now, to be quite honest, I don't think the spirit dies. I think it's always there inside of you. It might become dormant from times to time, but then there's something that will ignite at some stage. There'll always be something that triggers it. And I think that spirit is important because it does help you at times when you're feeling stressed and down. I do remember when I did my first Camino of 7 days 3 years ago, work was particularly stressful. Went off and did my 7 days, felt amazing. Of course, once you get back to the stresses of work, you can feel yourself crumbling again. But what I used to do, and even my colleagues used to say this, put yourself back on the Camino, Margaret, and then it's just reflecting about those experiences that you have, which are so amazing, all those amazing memories. that fires it up again. Other ways, the ways in which you can keep the Camino spirit alive, just keeping in contact with your Camino family. That always gives you a boost to be able to hear from them. I mean, it's so much easier these days to keep contact with people with WhatsApp and Facebook, etc. So yeah, just connecting with each other from time to time, just listening to their plans, any further plans that they have for Caminos, and getting excited for that. The other way in which you can keep the Camino spirit alive, just watch YouTube videos. I have to say I'm addicted to them. I'd much rather watch a YouTube video than anything else on TV. Netflix could lose their subscription. But yes, just watching videos and revisiting the places that you've visited just brings back so many wonderful memories of so many beautiful places that you pass through. Can't say that I'm a fan of watching myself on Melin's videos or even hearing my voice, but yeah, just watching them think, oh, I've done that and I've forgotten about that. So yeah, it's lovely. It just keeps that excitement alive. And of course then the other thing is to maybe plan another Camino, because I think once you're bitten you just want to have some more, because it's just the best experience ever. So that's how I'm keeping my Camino spirits alive.
Thank you for that beautiful response. Next question is, are you walking, Margaret? Have you continued to walk?
Good morning. Coming to you from Murcia in Galicia, and I'm just going to address a few more of Melin's questions. One of the questions, and I think I've already partially addressed it, is, are you walking? Yes, I am walking. When I'm at home, I belong to a hiking group. So if you are in the northwest of England, check out Abigail's Trails on Facebook. She's amazing. She runs lots of challenges and then she does walks to prepare you for those challenges. So yes, I have been walking with her.
Is there like a Camino, another one in your future?
I am doing a Camino. I am going to be walking part of the Camino in Vienna with somebody that I met when I did the 7-day Camino, and he's since gone on to do several Caminos, and he organises small groups. So I decided to jump on that. Obviously it's going to cost a little bit more than doing it independently, but I am aware that the Invierno doesn't have as many pilgrims, the distances are longer with fewer services, so going with the group will, I'll feel more comfortable and safer, especially if there's very little services. So yeah. So now that you've done the Camino, Frances, if you were to do it again, what would you do differently? Buenos dias. I'm coming to you from a place called Estorde, which is on the Camino between C and Fistera. So I'm just going to answer another one of Melin's questions, and that is, now that you've done the Camino Frances, what is it that you would do differently? Isn't this absolutely beautiful? I just had to film here, moving around also so you can look at the view behind me. Right, so what would I do differently? Quite a few things actually. When I did my Camino last autumn, I had all the stages planned out, and the reason for that was my son was planning to meet me at some stage on the Camino. He works abroad and we didn't know when his leave was going to be. It was going to be sometime during that period, and so I had to plan it all out so that he knew where to find me. As it was, he didn't meet me until the end when we got to Santiago. So I think next time, apart from maybe booking the first few stages, which are notoriously busy, I would be a little bit more flexible, and certainly I would stay in places that I had to walk through. You know, there's some beautiful places, and some of them are quite close to each other, so you might only just walk 10 kilometres a day and then stop again. You know, so Monanesca was beautiful, Ponferrada deserves more time, Astorga deserves more time. So I think next time I might give Burgos a miss because I explored that, you know, maybe just have the one night there. And then maybe have more time in places like Astorga, and Ponferrada. Yeah, Leon, Leon, I need to visit. And if you're going to stop in Leon, if you have a rest day on a Monday, nothing's open. The cathedral was open and the Gaudi house, but everything else that we want to see was shut. So that's just a tip. So yeah, that's what I would do differently. I also had my backpack transferred on because I was struggling with my hip. I was having physio on my hip before I went on the Camino, so I was just a bit concerned. I organised all the transport before I came away and I didn't have any problems. It was always there. I use Yaco Trans if anybody's thinking about using transport. But, you know, at the end of the day, I didn't use half the stuff, and I took the Kindle, which I never read, and I took a power bank, and I never needed that. Well, I think one night I did in the albergue where the sockets are on the other side of the room and you don't really want to leave your phone there. So, yeah, I can't think I would do anything else differently, really. Maybe take more time and stay in more places. But I do have a tip for you, because I've just broken a stupid rule that I always have for myself. When you put your rucksack down, which you're always doing for coffee and things like that, just check that you've picked everything up. I mean, I'm usually very good at checking that I've got my phone, my money. I think there's only once on the Camino that I left my poles behind and I realised after about 10 metres. Isn't this view amazing? So lovely. You won't be able to see it, but the headlands in the distance there, you can actually see the lighthouse. Now, last time that I walked this, just because of the way the light was falling, I didn't see that, but it's absolutely beautiful. And Mealing, this place here has great coffee. I know you like great coffee, and it's strong. I only put sugar in. I've been really good because I've cut out, whilst I've been here for 3 weeks, not had any additional sugar, not put any sweeteners. So there we go.
And the last question is, what has the Camino taught you about yourself? It's a tough one.
Good afternoon. This time I'm speaking to you from the Cementerio de los Ingleses, about 7 kilometers walk outside of Camariñas, which is north of Murcia, and I'm going to tackle one of Mealing's questions, which I think is the most difficult one to answer, and that is, has the Camino taught you about yourself? And that's really difficult to answer because we're always learning. You know, new experiences, new situations, new relationships, work, play, etc. They all present challenges which you have to face. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I've ever stopped learning, and I will still keep learning. I think it'd be arrogant to say, yeah, I've done it all, I don't need to learn anymore. But I've been on my own, lived on my own now for 20 years. So I think I've got to know myself pretty well, and that's easy to do when you're not looking after a family or not trying to maintain a relationship, because your time and energy is often diverted elsewhere. But when you're on your own, you've got time to address your own needs. So, you know, I am independent, I am adventurous, although with caution. I'm not reckless. I wouldn't say I was selfish. I mean, yeah, you might say it's selfish doing what I want, but it doesn't impact on anybody else. I think if you're going to do things like that, just be aware of the impact of your behaviour on other people. Yeah, I'm still learning, and you know, hopefully everybody gets the time at some stage where they can invest in themselves, invest time in themselves, find out what really makes them tick, fulfill their passions. But it's important that we do that without impacting on other people's feelings. Let's just, as humans, be kind to each other, and I think that's particularly important when you see what's going on in the world. You can try to progress without being brutal and unkind. Just be kind and keep on learning and keep on exploring. Hope that satisfies you, Meelin. I can't really think of anything else. I kept that one till last because I thought that is the toughest one to answer. Anyway, I'll just give you one last view of this location.
So that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the interview with the amazing Margaret. I call her amazing because she is really, really fit, and she is an independent woman who knows what she wants and is very self-assured in a way that is very inspirational. She is also warm-hearted and very witty.
In case you don't have the opportunity to come to this location, this cemetery was constructed to bury the bodies of a British warship that was shipwrecked off this coast of death. And the ship was shipwrecked in 1890. It was called HMS Serpent. If I remember correctly, from what I read, there were 174 sailors washed ashore on the beach. I think I read somewhere that 3 survived, and the interior is where they buried the bodies of the captain and the officers, and the rest of the mariners were buried outside here. And apparently the bodies were washed up on the beach, and it was the locals that buried them here. As you can see, this also marks the shipwreck of 2 other ships around that time. Apparently HMS Serpent was a warship, and if I remember correctly, they were heading to one of the African countries. Anyway, I will say adios, and if you are thinking of doing a Camino, just go for it. It's the best thing ever. Take care. One of the other things Meelin said is there anything else you have to say? I think one of the things that I spoke about quite a bit when I was being interviewed by Meelin was, what you're going to do, what you learned from this experience, and it was just to try and create a community. The Camino community is amazing. You're never alone, there's always somebody to talk to share things with. People are so open, and I just feel that we have lost that. And as a person who lives on their own, suddenly the effects of COVID were devastating, because in the area that I lived in, I wasn't even allowed to be more personal, and because people were made to choose who their bubble was, I was on the outskirts, because most of my family live in Australia and my sister lives in Liverpool, and that was in another area with completely different restrictions. So I just felt that I'd lost that. And then in my working life, I took on more responsibilities, so I felt that I lost my work family, because one of the pleasures of working is not only to earn money, is just having time with people and connection with people. And I found that I wasn't even doing that. I didn't know anything about anybody, they didn't know anything about me, and the only time we talked was just to talk about work. And I did sometimes just go into what we called our well-being room, a little tiny staff room, and because I was the team lead at the time, it sort of looked, as I walked in, I said, I haven't come here to talk about work, I've come here to be a human being and connect. And one of the things I said to Meelin I would do is to reach out with people and connect and try and create my own community. So I do have my walking community with Abigail's Trails, They're lovely, lovely, lovely people. But I wanted to keep contact with people that I've worked with in the past, and an idea of mine was to host supper parties once a month, and so I've done that. I've run 4 different supper parties with different people that I've worked with most recently, people from way back, and it's been lovely. It's just nice to share good food and to have conversation.
Many thanks, lovely Margaret, for this interview. It was so insightful. If you are new here, my name is Em and this is Walk with Em. Please subscribe, like and share if you are finding this content to be of worth. I would love to have you on my channel. I'm heading out to the Camino Portuguese soon and I'd love to take you along with me. In the meantime, take care, buen Camino, and remember, life is too short and just seize the day. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next video. Bye for now.